Sky Striker manages to overcome all of the odds during this YCS. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that breakdown so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. YCS Niagara was quite the spectacle of an event out here, and I gotta tell you, having this recap and the ability to look at this data, like, this is... it's really something to be able to see. So there's a lot of Snake Eyes variations in this data, so kind of keep that in mind. But starting things off here, we had a field of 9 Snake Eyes decks according to data for you here, which, I mean, isn't going to be too terribly bad, but in the grand conversion of things, still a little bit rough. We also had 5 Yubel variants. Oh, hey, look, it's almost like, dare I say, it's almost like last format out here, where, or actually be 2 formats now, where, Yubel, Tenpai, and Snake Eyes are kind of the decks fighting with each other for the top cut. And, of course, yes, we had 5 Tenpai variations. So, the big 3 are still here. Now, bringing up the end here is actually Fire Kings, actually. A lot of people were looking at the Snake Eyes Fire King build as the optimized go-to build instead of trying to play it with the Azamina Snake Eyes build. Well, I mean, you can still overlap them, but a lot of people were looking at the consistent side of things out here, trying to make these decisions in which build direction that you wanted to go. Also, to no surprise out here, we actually had Rescue Ace out here performing very, very well. I'm actually very happy to see that Race was actually doing so well. Now, the real challengers here were the one-ups. You had Sky Striker, you had Labyrinth, Ritual Beast, Plants, Exodia, and even Centurion out here doing the things. Like, you might be looking at this list, you might, this is just same garbage, different day, but Rogue was performing very, very well for this event. Like, this is quite different than what we're really used to seeing out here. Now, top 16 passes on along here. This is where things kind of look a little bit scary, in my opinion. Snake Eyes taking up 43.8% of the top cut field. Now, you're probably going to look at that and you're going to be like, ugh. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. Yes, it is a little bit scary, but it's now the other field that we care about. Also, 3 Fire Kings. So technically, Snake Eyes has 10 of the decks in this top cut. Now, who remains out here? We had 1 Yubel, we have 1 Tenpai, Sky Striker, your Labyrinth, your Ritual Beast, and your Centurion all found a way into the top 16. Man, Rogue was... The Rogue decks were really, really getting the chance to shine out here. And I found that very, very cool. Now, as we shift on to top 8 here. Alright, so we have 2 Fire King builds, and we have 2 Snake Eyes Azamina builds holding on for the competition. Okay, well, that's not necessarily too terrible. And then, of course, Yubel, your Sky Striker duelist, Labyrinth, and Tenpai, all showing some very good strengths out here, kind of batting this off. But I mean, your Fire King, or your Azamina deck, still has 50% of this field. Now, as we shift on into top 4, wow! Sky Striker, Labyrinth, Fire King, Tenpai. What a change. So many of those Snake Eyes variations just got crumbled off into the wayside. And I'm not surprised to see that. Now, your finals ended up being Sky Striker versus Fire Kings, and Fire Kings ended up winning the event, which, you know what? I'm not even upset about. Like, when you have such a good turnover conversion like this, and you get the chance to see Sky Striker perform so amazingly well, it's so awesome. All right, we're going to pass on over to those deck lists. So we have a few good deck lists out of this event. Starting things off here, we have the first place list, sporting off the Fire King route of things. So this is where you're playing the double Ukalonics, and basically, you're not really relying, there's no Azamina package. Well, I mean, yeah, there is. And you're just not going down, like, triple Deception. 2, I think, is fine. A lot of people were very much looking at the fact that, like, hey, you need to have 3 Deceptions. No, it's fine. Also with this build, I see that we get to play Triple Dominance Impulse. I can tell you, after this weekend, this card's pretty good. So you were also playing Droll and Fool Wars, which is good. Post side decking, we have Perulias. You also have the Retaliating Seas in here. And, of course, little good old Fucho, so your opponent can't, end your dueling career just with the quickness. I also see we are doing the Dramatic Snake Eyes Chase and Silvera in here as well. Those are both some very cool tech choices to be seeing. Also, we're playing the Zombie Vampire. That opens up some pretty cool doors for some ideas. I like that. Now, our legendary Sky Striker Board Breaker, the deck. So you wanted a deck this format to be looking at, because you're like, oh, Fool Warises are a little bit expensive. What alternatives do we have? Well, you just played 36 spells, the deck. My only major concern about this deck, and this is from my personal, thing, is my locals loves to Secret Village lock you. And you're playing a lot of spells, all right? So that's a major thing to kind of think about. I also do like the fact that you are playing the Threatening Roar in here. Actually, the fact that you're playing Threatening Roar ensures that you're going to get the game back to your turn so that you can actually play Sky Striker and do your thing. Also, we don't have Carmelia, which is kind of a wild thing to be thinking about, because Carmelia is kind of like the last missing piece for Sky Striker to definitely get off the ground. But this is an excellent example of how you can go second in this format, be able to win the game just on board breakers alone. Absolutely amazing. Third place is Labyrinth. Labyrinth had a fantastic showing this weekend. Also, we're back to the Pot of Extravagance idea, which I kind of like this. Also, yeah, I know there's some Fool Wars in here, and yes, we are playing the Dominus Impulse. I think for 150%, you need to be playing the Impulse. This card is just super good. Also, citing the 3 extra Mulch Armies. Because we are playing Extravagance, you are going to have to make some pretty expensive extra deck calls, like, having the extra Chaos Angels, the triple Typhoon, because these are resources that when you do see them, they are so incredibly good that you're at a disadvantage if you're choosing to not take advantage of these. So I think that that's a really important thing to be looking at, especially with a list like this, is that extravagance value. You're insane if you're choosing to not take advantage of it to the fullest. All right. Woo! We have probably what's going to be many a Tenpai list out of this weekend here. I do see that we were playing the Grand Tusk Dragon, which is actually pretty cool. Getting the double target with this seems pretty useful. This is still best card ever. I see we're back on the Heat Wave. I chose not to play the Heat Wave. I didn't really have much of a problem with this. It's just game one when you're forced to go first, and you don't have good cards, or on board breaker mode. There's not really much you can do. I also see, hey, we're playing the 2 Doras. It is 2 additional monsters for you to be able to do your thing with, which is fine. I'm still playing the Rivalry. And I see we do play the Promethean Princess in here as like a little mini floater revive if need be. Outside of that, I think you have all the utility assets that you need. I do love the judgments for the, being able to make your deck shift modes for whichever battle mode that you're going to need to be able to handle the meta. But the deck is so incredibly figured out. It's crazy. Next up, we have Pack Centurion list out here from the Top Cut. I see we are doing 1 Autry, 1 Gargoyle, which is fine. We are not playing the new one. I know a lot of people are looking at the new one. Yeah, she's okay. Chimera is definitely, it's okay, but it's not good enough to be playing. Of course, we're doing the Buy Steel package, which, as you should be, right? Like, Brandy Regain's an insane card in this deck. Side decking all the Mulch Armies you could ever need. Also deck lockdown. Also citing the 1 of Pot of Prosperity with the 1 Bonfire sign. And basically you get the chance to side out whichever mode you need. And we were playing the 2 copies of Primus. Primus is so good. Alright, this was enough to push this deck in a good direction. And hey, you know what? Just double Cosmic Blazar your opponent. What's your opponent supposed to do with this? Alright, good old level 12s doing their job, because Crimson Dragon is an insanely good card. Okay. Oh, hey, we have Yubel list. Yubel did not have a fun time this weekend. Still doing 2 spirits as we should be, going triple tracked, which is understandable. 1 Lacrima for the dump. Alright. As for, the rest of this, we're doing the pop 1 for the Unchained card. Much as I've heard people go, you don't want to play this, I really do think that this card is extremely good. It just does so much work for you. Alright, I don't know why people underestimate this, because there's just so many times that the Monster Reborn just feels so worthless at the end of the day. Outside of that, I mean, you got the time card. You have pretty much, I think, everything taken care of with a build like this that you would really need to be thinking about. And if there really is an issue out here, you can just figure out which path you want to go down. You know, you're like, hey, you know, I need to adjust with this. I mean, yes and no. All right. Ooh, we also have one more Tempai list. Now, this is the kind of stuff I like. Going all the way in with this. They're doing the Lightning Storms. We were main decking this. 2-2 split on these. I do like the 2 Fadra. I know a lot of people hate this, but that's fine. I also see we were boarding the Raigekis instead of maining them. That's understandable. I mean, your goal is, like, if you get to the droplet anyway after drawing all these cards, it's mission accomplished, right? Like, you've done your thing. Good old Grand Tusk Dragon, the Crossouts. Actually, Crossout was an insanely good card this weekend, especially when Tempai can go ahead and just play through and do the thing is good. Double Spheres is an interesting tech. I do like this. I think the double Spheres might actually be more worth considering out here, but just for the link plays, for when you get, you know, Dimensional Barrier. But that's all we have for the breakdown for the YCS. I have a couple of other interesting lists we're going to talk about later this afternoon, but please, comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here in a day, guys. Peace. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.